this video, we're finding the cranial nerves on this rotatable model. I wanted to start with this so you could see where the nerves are in relation to other brain structures, but we'll also look at these models in separate video that has where all the cranial nerves are and you're not confused by other brain structures. Like all of them, other rotatable models, you grab it and you go left and right, you can spin it, enlarge it. On the tags, these are actually the brain structures. Not all the cranial nerves are tagged on here just because some of them are really hard to see on this brain. So this is where the brain starts, and I'm going to rotate it so we have a frontal view. There's 12 cranial nerves. They start at number 1, right there, Roman numeral 1, which is the olfactory. They end down here on the brainstem at number 12, and they basically start rostral to caudal, superior to inferior. So basically we count them and number them and hope we find all 12 of them. So this first one, it is under the frontal lobe right there, and it's one of the largest ones. That is the olfactory nerve. Olfaction is smell. So this is the olfactory nerve. Cranial nerve number 1. It actually goes to the olfactory cortex underneath the frontal lobe. Cranial nerve number 2 is right there. That actually is going to the eyes, and look how thick it is. So that is the optic nerve, and it goes to the optic chiasm right there. Okay, get your magnifying glasses. See that little thing right there? That little thing is the oculomotor nerve. So olfactory nerve, it goes above the ethmoid bone, goes into the nasal cavity. Optic nerve goes to the optic canal. This one goes through the superior orbital fissure, and it controls most of the muscles of your eye. It goes to the iris. It does a bunch of things. And as the name implies, oculomotor, it does motor tasks for the eye, where optic is vision coming in. We have the olfaction, which is smell. So olfaction, optic, oculomotor. Our next nerve is a tricky one. See how obvious the olfactory and optic nerve is? The oculomotor nerve is the only nerve that comes off of the mesencephalon. We're going to rotate it a little bit. You see that nerve right in there? Get your magnifying glasses, blow it up a billion times. That's the trochlear nerve. It's a very disappointing nerve, isn't it? It's called the trochlear nerve because it goes to this muscle called the superior oblique that has a pulley system. Now, the cool fact about this nerve is it's the only one that comes off of the caudal part of the brainstem. All the other ones are rostral parts of the brainstem. That is the only caudal one. So I guess it's a bad boy because we're going to actually learn in the spinal chapter that motor signals come off the front and sensory signals go in the back, and this is coming from the back. So we have olfactory, optic, oculomotor, and then really it is back there. Almost. There it is. Trochlear. This is one of my favorite nerves next right there. And unfortunately, they cut it on this model, so I wouldn't use it on this model. I like other static models that have a very obvious what this nerve is. This nerve has 3 branches. It'll have 1, 2, 3 branches coming off of it. So it's called the trigeminal nerve. It's one of the largest cranial nerves. It has 3 very obvious branches on the other models. You'll see why I like this nerve so much. So, olfactory, optic, oculomotor, trochlear really is back there, and trigeminal. Then we have this nerve, and again, it only goes to 1 muscle. It's coming off right there underneath the pons. This is called the abducens. It goes to the lateral rectus muscle and it abducts your eye. It's a very good named nerve. Then we have this nerve right here, and then a separate nerve right here. This is the facial nerve. This is the vestibulocochlear nerve. And on some of the other models, it actually shows the vestibular branch and the cochlear branch of it, but it's the vestibulocochlear nerve. So we have olfactory, optic, oculomotor, trochlear, trigeminal, abducens, facial, vestibulocochlear. Now, the problems on the other models, see how there's two nerves right next to each other and there's a third branch? People sometimes confuse that with the trigeminal. The trigeminal is towards the top of the pons here, and it's bigger, where these are smaller nerves. So I rotated a little bit. There's still the olfactory. You can actually see the optic right there. That is the abducens. We have the facial, number 7. We have the vestibulocochlear, number 8. So here the numbering system messes up a little bit. So all the rest of them, we've gone from rostral to caudal, in superior to inferior. This is actually cranial nerve 12. That is the hypoglossal. And it's actually a lot prettier than this on some of the other brain models. That's a very disappointing hypoglossal nerve. That's the olivary body. Then we have two nerves right there. So this is the glossopharyngeal. And this is the vagus right there. The glossopharyngeal goes to your pharynx and your mouth, glossal vocabulary. The vagus actually is one of the most important cranial nerves. It goes down into your thoracic cavity, and it is going to innervate most of your internal organs. It goes to the heart, the pancreas, the liver, the lungs. So it's actually a very important cranial nerve. So we have abducens, facial, vestibulocochlear. This is number 9, the glossopharyngeal. This is number 10, the vagus. Then we have this one. This is my least favorite cranial nerve. It's the one I want to kick off because it actually originates mostly from the spinal cord. That is called the accessory nerve. This is the cranial accessory nerve, then the spinal accessory nerve is below it. It's a weird nerve. It comes off the lateral aspect of the central nervous system, which is just odd for most of the nerves. And most of it actually is going to hook up with the vagus, so it shouldn't be a cranial nerve at all. But it's cranial nerve 11, the accessory. Then we have the hypoglossal. That is on the anterior part of the brainstem. Again, I'm not sure how they did that numbering, why they put this as the 12th when all the rest has gone from anterior, or it's gone from rostral to caudal. So those are the 12 cranial nerves. Try to find them on this model. Then we'll watch the video for where the cranial nerves are in the skull. And look at the static models for the mouse over models. And see, some of them are really obvious. Others, Abducens, Trochlear, are really hard to find. So thank you. Have a good day.